Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me for this acrylic painting tutorial. In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to paint a water lily. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm going to show you step by step how to do it from start to finish today. I've got my husband Mark with me.
Hey there, everybody.
He's man chat today, so if you've got questions, you can ask those, and I'll try to answer. Let's get started. All right, welcome to our live stream followers who are watching us live today. Appreciate you guys stopping what you're doing on a hopefully beautiful Saturday where you're at all over the world. We're going to be using a 9x12 inch canvas today. This is a Fredrix mixed media canvas board, and I've painted it with a little bit of Ultramarine Blue. Just used a paper towel to kind of swipe it around so it's very thin wash of blue, just to give our background a little tint to start with. It just helps me when I'm painting to have a little undercolor to ground my colors, and it helps me see the values of the colors, and that's why the gray palette that I use too has kind of a gray undertone. If Mark will show it. He's over there scratching his head. There we go. That's why the gray palette.
Wow.
Sorry, I did. I called you out. Sorry. I'm going to go over colors. Burnt umber, quinacridone burnt orange, quinacridone magenta, cadmium yellow light, phthalo green yellow shade, and phthalo turquoise, ultramarine blue, and dioxazine purple. This is unbleached titanium. I'm sorry, this is titanium white. I didn't use unbleached titanium today. And this one is gloss glazing liquid. Now, if you don't have these exact colors, just use what you've got that's similar. So you're going to want a bright yellow, bright-ish green, or a blue that you can mix with it to make a nice bright green. So like a phthalo blue would work if you don't have the phthalo turquoise. And then your ultramarine blue is kind of a more purple-leaning blue, so it's not going to make a really bright green that we want for some of the parts of our flowers. So you're going to want to have a blue or a green that's closer to like cerulean, or that's closer to green, to be able to mix the bright greens that we're going to want today. And then if you don't have the quinacridone burnt orange, you can use burnt sienna instead. Add a little bit of quinacridone magenta, and you'll get a color fairly close to it. All right, let's get going here. I've gone ahead and just kind of sketched it out. I've changed up the composition a little bit, just to kind of I wanted a little bit more lily pad action here, so I wanted a bigger lily pad in this upper corner here, and I kind of turned it so that the lily wasn't facing out off the canvas but facing in. It's just a little bit better. It keeps the eye in, to have things facing in towards the middle.
Yes. I learned that in a photography video this week.
Really?
Perceived direction.
There you go.
They're talking about the windows on a lighthouse. They're facing a certain way, so it seems like it's looking that direction. So you
Right.
also want it to be off-center to the other side.
Yes.
Continue, please.
Okay. I'm mixing turquoise with my ultramarine blue. If you don't have the turquoise, again, you can use a little bit of phthalo blue or a little bit of phthalo green in with your ultramarine blue. And I'm just going to kind of darken up my water in some places. Up in this upper corner, I'm going to actually have it pretty purple-ish. So I'm going to get a little bit of purple too. And I'm just going to map out around my painted or my drawn in water lilies, and it's kind of a Millennium Falcon shape here. So if you know that movie, it's actually a circle, but since we've kind of tilting it away from us, and if you want to, what I did to draw it, so that I kind of drew this is actually even not quite a circle, but drew a circle and then just held it at the angle that I wanted it so that I could draw it in that general. It just kind of helped me with my perspective a little bit, to just, you draw it flat and then you angle your paper so that you can kind of see how to angle it on the canvas here. That's what I did there. Little handy tip.
Man, that is a pro tip right there.
Thanks.
A pro hack.
Yeah, hack.
I'm learning the TikTok language.
That's right. Yeah, you gotta.
Dun, 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 dun.
I'm gonna get some turquoise and get phthalo green yellow shade. And I'm using the fluid acrylics because, just because I had them out and because the phthalo green yellow shade that I have in the heavy body acrylics is not working for me. It's too thick, so this one will go down a little bit smoother for me. And I just happen to have the turquoise out too because I used it to paint the colorful dog portraits that we're doing in my Patreon challenge image, and oh my gosh, they've been so fun. I've had the best time. I'm like, should I switch to doing these all the time? Just nothing but colorful dogs from now on. I think that's going to be my new channel. Just gonna.
What about them cats?
Start a channel of just weird colored animals.
So if you wanted to paint this lily pad yellow, you could do that. Give it that Pac-Man theme.
What?
Give it.
Pac-Man. Like, what the heck? You got me.
Just put them on the other side and then put some dots in front of them.
Right.
Can you hear that sound of him eating?
What?
Can you hear the sound of him eating right now in your head?
Waka.
Oh, hold on. I want to get that recorded. There you go. Or was that Fuzzy Bear?
Yeah. Maybe that's where Fozzie got it from. Who knows? All right. So just kind of putting this in with some different colors. And I want to kind of fuzz out the edges so I don't have like any hard edges. So I'm just going to come back in and kind of smudge out those edges just to soften them up. And it'll kind of make it a little harder to discern where the, edge of the lily pad is. I will be adding some highlights to it. But I want this area back here to be a little bit kind of in the distance, so a little bit blurry, kind of, and that just smudging out those edges helps with that. Makes it a little harder to see what's going on. And then I wanted to have another lily pad under here that it's kind of covering slightly. So another one right here, kind of coming up and just disappearing underneath that one. Yeah, maybe its edges right there. Who knows? Okay, so there, and then I'm going to do a nice large one right here. I'm leaving the water for now in this bottom area. I'll darken it up here in a minute, but get some phthalo green yellow shade and maybe make this one in the foreground a little bit more bright, a little bit more yellow, maybe a little yellow mixed in. Yeah, there we go. Now this is going to go under my flower, so I'm not really sure what is going to happen right there, but I'll go ahead and paint it in. And again, that too was going to kind of disappear under my flower, I believe. But the little split starts right about the midpoint of the lily pad, though. So you kind of find your midpoint of your lily pad, or if you're changing it up, then that's where you're going to want to. I'm going to go ahead and kind of make a little dimple where that is. Just a little spot there. I don't know why it was drying underneath there, so that's lifting my color. That it's not laying down new paint right there, so I'm just gonna have to leave it, let it dry, and then I can add that later because it's just not gonna do it right now. All right, and then let's do some more over here. I've done lily pads a few times. I think this is probably the third, maybe fourth time I've painted lily pads for a tutorial. They're really fun to do. Monet, of course, famously. We did a Monet version, one of his paintings, kind of, if you're interested in that. kind of learning his style of doing them much looser than the way I'm doing it today, but still very fun.
So, can you kind of clarify or define fun?
You just don't know. You're missing out on.
Okay, I was just wondering.
Yeah. You're missing out. I've said many times that art has kept me sane. We had 3 children, 3 boys, all boys. At one time, I had 2 teenage boys and a 5-year-old, no, something like that, in the house. My oldest is 5 years, or my oldest is 10 years older than my youngest, so our youngest, I should say, ours, not my. Marcus partly responsible.
Partly. We'll see.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, art's definitely a nice outlet to have. I'm glad that I pursued it even with kiddos. I feel for the moms who have young kids who try to find time to paint. I've been there. I lived for nap times and Mother's Day out days when I could.
Oh, I live for nap times too.
Paint uninterrupted.
Oh, you need somebody else sleeping. I thought maybe I just needed a nap.
I do need naps. No. All right. So just kind of using different blues and greens, and honestly, at this point, I'm not really. I'm just kind of doing what feels right. I'm not really going by the image because I've changed it up so much. So just kind of trying to, and I don't really think that you can go wrong with it. You know, just kind of adding different colors, trying different blues and greens here. I'm kind of doing the darker colors toward the back. I'll kind of push it back visually, but then I am going to have some darker shadows up in the foreground here too, like especially underneath my lily pads here, kind of making some shadows in the water and things like that. And here, shadows underneath the petals. I'm going to use the Ultramarine Blue down here and go another coat of, just want like a nice bright blue down in this area. And your water can be, dark, can be like purple in these areas. Here I might add a little bit of purple to really darken it up underneath this one, this lily pad there. It looks brighter in this corner than it is in real life. The light's making it look shinier than it is. It's pretty dark down here. And if you've got areas of your canvas that are like these little white spots that are not covering, and this is where your water glaze could come in, just to add a little fluid to your paint so that it's thinned down, and then it'll get down in those cracks. If you just keep trying to put thick paint on top of it, it won't get down in there. You'll end up wasting paint. So don't add more paint, just add some water to your paint that you already got going. It'll get right down in there for you. Okay. And this is going to be another, I'm going to go ahead and just fill in that area. I'm going to put another lily pad over here with some green. And I'm just going to kind of pretend my flower's not there right now. I'm not painting around it, just might bring it down just a little bit right here. think that's probably the right shape. Somewhere in here. Okay. So let's go ahead. Let me see if this is dry enough. This is dry enough. Get a little dark. There we go. Now it's going to cover. So before, when I tried to do that, it wouldn't cover because it was lifting off the canvas. The paint underneath was drying, and so as soon as I touched it, it kind of stuck to my brush and lifted, and then it kind of creates this void on the canvas where it just won't lay down any new colors until it's completely dry. Very weird how that works, but it's just kind of how acrylics do, so you have to watch out for that. I'm going to get some white and add a little bit of white to this phthalo green, and I'm going to get some turquoise too. Phthalo green, turquoise, and just a slight bit of yellow maybe. And I'm just going to kind of use the brush, the side of the brush, just to kind of dry brush. And I've got a lot of paint on my brush, so it's laying down a pretty good amount of paint, but I'm just wanting it to go on kind of randomly, so I'm sort of scrubbing it from the side so that I get kind of broken lines and interesting shapes out of it. Okay. And then let's get some more white here. I'm just going to pick kind of an edge here and just add some color. Like that lip is lifting off just a little bit. Maybe a little bit here. And again, if I kind of use the side of my brush, I'm just going to scrub it on. It'll go on a little bit less smoothly, a little bit more painterly. And by painterly, I just mean it's kind of showing the brush strokes. It's not kind of smoothly blending into the next area. I don't know if I'm going to do it all in this style or not. I'll see. I'm kind of playing with it right now just to see what I like. So I may clean it up later just by going behind it and, you know, adding a little darker shadow like that. Kind of cleaning up the edge. So I don't have to be super careful with it at first, but I can always go back in and clean it up by adding some highlights or some shadows around the outside to make a harder edge. Okay, so there we go. I'm just going to kind of pull that down a little bit. Maybe the light's hitting it. And then let's get some of the darker color and kind of go back over, maybe get some turquoise, go back over, blend it out a little bit. Okay. That's kind of what I want to end up with, just kind of a soft, sort of blendy looking thing back there. Let's do our next one. Let's do this front one with a little bit more turquoise. Get some turquoise in my brush here. Maybe end it right here so it's not going up to that corner. I don't like to end or meet two objects at the same point. So the edge of that right here with the corner of the it kind of confuses the eye. So if I end it down here away from that edge, it makes it obvious that this is a separate entity to this. They're not connected and joined, if that makes sense. It's just a way of visually separating your objects and your composition. It's just better to do that. So we'll just bring that down and give this one a darker background right here in the water. And then that way we know there are two different things there.
Sometimes your eyes aren't too smart.
What?
So sometimes your eyes are not too smart.
Why?
Well, you said that it confuses the eyes.
Well, yeah, they get confused. Well, it's just if you have two things meeting up, your eye wants to continue that line instead of realize it just doesn't realize it's two different things.
Well, the eye better get it in shape.
I know.
Can't go rogue out there on his own.
Okay. Not sure what you meant by that, but okay. Check. I love you. Confusing me.
And that's okay. You're getting a little focused there, so I figured I might as well.
Getting some ultramarine blue here and adding it to my turquoise. So so I need to make a shape out of this that makes sense. So I'm going to bring it down here a little bit more. Still not sure. So I need to bring that up just a little bit right here. So this is going to be like that. And then I need to have a split in this one somewhere. So I'm going to just, I guess, maybe do it this way. Coming down that way, I'm not sure. Maybe this, maybe over here. Right there. I wasn't planning on giving it a split, but there's the middle of it is showing, so I need to have it somewhere. It's either going to have to come off that way, or we can just do it kind of coming down this way. That'll work. What are you doing?
Prepping for the commercial.
Commercial.
For patreon.com/digitalfineart.
Okay. Well, don't make it a commercial.
Oh, okay.
I don't like that. Make it all cheesy. I don't like it.
You don't like it cheesy?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I know. You're kind of strange that way. For like a grilled cheese sandwich, you want like one piece of cheese.
Yeah. Mm-mm.
So you don't want it cheese forward.
No.
But on like nachos,
Right.
you better bring the cheese.
The better. Mark would like sprinkle the cheese on the nachos, like from up high, like he's, gifting the nachos with little powdering of cheese, flavored nothing. And I'm like, no, you gotta like load it on there. Like it's got to be full of cheese. The cheese is what makes the chips stick together. Gotta have the cheese. Yeah. No.
Gifting the nachos.
Just like there's a little cheese dust. Right? Sprinkling it on there. You won't be able to taste this, but it'll look good. Okay, adding a little bit. What?
Said I'm learning.
Adding a little bit of ripples in the water here with ultramarine blue, with white mixed in. Okay. Added some fluid ultramarine here too. And see, having that white, and then if I put that blue, ultramarine blue over it, it makes it brighter. It's brighter than if I tried to put the ultramarine blue over the dark color. So that little bit of white will help. Okay. Okay, let me get some more phthalo green and turquoise. I'm gonna add some yellow. Maybe add a little bit of burnt orange just to give it like a little different color. It's got some, maybe some magenta over here on this one. These are all different colors usually. And some of them are getting older and dying off, and they turn kind of yellowish when they do that. Some of the reddish ones, I'm not really sure, but some of them kind of turn purplish. I'm gonna give this one a little more color here. Mark's just over here having snacks. Can hear you chewing. You're making a lot of noise.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It's not me.
Just gonna keep painting. All right. I'm pretty happy with that. I don't know if I love this yellow color too much. I kind of want to stick to some more turquoises, so I'm gonna get some turquoise and some white. Really make a brighter, like a cobalt teal kind of type color. And you can put that out if you have it. You can get a teal if you want. So putting a little bit of it down, and then I'm just going to blend it out into the next color by using some of the darker turquoise. I'm just going to pull over the edge of that lighter color and just push it into the darker color and get a color that is, it doesn't have to be the same color as your background. As long as the value is the same, it'll blend. So just get the same value, that kind of mid to dark toned green of any kind, really, and then we can just use it to kind of blend out that. I'm not sure I love this, but we'll get there. We'll get it there. I'm just keeping on adding different layers until I like what I got. It doesn't matter if it looks good in the first layer. It's not, these are all just kind of building, we're just building depth in our painting. So here's this light turquoise here. I'm just going to get this darker one and just pull back with it over the edge there. I'm just going to blend it out a little bit. It kind of blends in and makes a nice little transition into my darker colors. I'm gonna blend that out maybe. Let's get some ultramarine blue and add it to this color. Maybe not that much. And then I can also take it, clean out my brush and just use a damp brush to kind of push this paint around and kind of get a little bit of water on that edge. As long as my background is dry, I can kind of lift the color and push it around a little bit that way too. And can kind of create a wash out of that. Just push it out. If I'm concerned that I've added too much water, I can add a little glaze just to make it stick better. But lots of different ways of manipulating this color. I'm going to get just a little bit more color on this one, and then we'll go ahead and put our flower in. Get a little bit more of the darker turquoise. And maybe add some Quinacridone Magenta to that turquoise. It makes a really pretty navy blue. That'll be nice with that turquoise, or that kind of reddish tone that we were adding to that one earlier. Right. Let's see, I need to put out some more turquoise. All right, let's put in our flower. I'm gonna get my blender brush here. This is just gonna push that paint on there nicely for me. So I'm going to get a little bit of yellow and a little bit of white, kind of 50-50, and I want to make the center of my flower right in here, facing in. I'm just going to kind of start with this color just to give it a nice bright center. Move the brushes that I haven't used over here. I'm going to get a little bit smaller Filbert. So this one is a 4. The one that I was starting with was a 6. Sorry, I didn't go over my brushes, did I? At all? Just jumped right in.
Yeah, you were too busy calling out your husband.
For what?
For scratching his head.
That's right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. Call it like I see it.
Yeah. You should be focusing on your brushes, that's all I'm saying.
Let me use some magenta down here, and I'm just going to kind of add it into that yellow. Blend it up into that a little bit. And then use that dark magenta kind of down here. We're going to cover most of this with white, but there's just a little bit of this pink in the darkest parts of this flower, so just kind of want to start there. And then I'm going to get some white, and I'm going to go ahead and use a little bit of this Ultramarine Blue. Okay. And I want this pretty big. I want to make sure that my background is mostly done before I do this, but I'm probably going to just have to paint around it a little bit. I might use I feel like I want to draw it. Use the chalk just so that I don't have any areas that I want to change. Okay, so this is going to be the center of my flower. It's going to have this little bowl right here with some petals coming up like that, and then in between I'm going to have some larger petals back here. I'll connect right here, so they all should point to right about here. something like that. I think this one would be a little bit bigger. And this one would come out a little bit more there. Okay, let's try that. Trying to get a good point on these. Might need to switch my brush, we'll see. I'm going to put them on and just kind of drag them down into this and kind of stop just right at the yellow there. And some of these farther back ones, I'll use a little bit more of the blue. Disappear it a little bit more. Something like that, and then we'll have a nice big one right here. Actually bring it down. Get some of the lighter white. I'm going to bring that up here. Oops, this has got yellow in it, but that's all right. Not going to hurt anything. And then the ones that are on the side here are kind of starting to curve in. Yeah, that's nice. I like that yellow in there. It's a nice little complement to it. And a little bit of white along that edge. A little bit of white along the tip. I think that one's not even there. I don't know if I'm going to put that one at all. Whoops. Just trying to wipe it off. And then we'll have one right here. Yeah. So this will be the bottom of the bowl here. Smaller petals right there coming up. And then see, and again, kind of like what we talked about over here, I don't want to end that edge of the petal with the edge of that, so I'm going to bring it down so that it's not following the shape of that that leaf. Use some of the darker blue down in here. Looks good. All right. This one. Then we'll do a petal right there. And that one will go over the top. Nice. Okay. And just get some of the blue for where it tucks down in there. And as I'm putting these in, I'm always pulling, I'm gonna get some pink magenta here. I'm always pulling down towards the center of that flower where it's attached. So all of these streaks and things that are happening will all look like they're planned. They're part of the flower and make sense with the petal. I know it's probably confusing because that one is facing away. Getting some yellow and some green. Here, I'm going to do this one with the green. And yellow. And let's add some to this one. Get some white. And then we'll put the petals in front. There'll be some smaller ones here. And another petal right here. I'm going to go ahead and bring it out just a little bit. Looks a little funky right now, but we'll get it there. Just trying to define our petals, and then we can add other colors to them. Just using water to pull off my chalk lines here, which I didn't use. I don't know why I even bothered. Makes me feel better, but then I don't use them.
Well, you use them.
A little bit. When I first start, I do, but then I kind of abandoned them. Okay. I'm just looking at the overall shape, making sure these two kind of green ones should sort of come out from that center, arc out. Might bend that one back a little bit. Needs another layer. And when you're covering over that darker color, just add a little white to your color. It'll help cover. My petal keeps getting bigger and bigger the more I paint it. Really thin for that. All right. Getting some white and the ultramarine blue. Back opposite. And it's mixing with that. I'm making kind of a green, which is nice. So I want that darker color down in here. This is just the ultramarine blue plus that green that I just had. Need to have darker colors in here, otherwise I won't have any depth in my flowers. So get some magenta and some of the blue. Bring it around here and just kind of add it to the bottoms of some of these flowers and in my darkest area here, and then I'm just going to wipe most of it out and pull it out on these bottom ones here so it kind of fades out. I want it darkest right in here. This is that ultramarine blue and Quinacridone Magenta. It probably has a little bit of that yellow in it too, because I still had it in my brush. That's okay. Okay, so I'm just darkening up that area right there. For a simple flower, these can be a little tricky to paint. I'm finding it a little more challenging than I expected it to be. I probably could have done it a little bit differently. If I did the petals a little darker instead of adding so much white, you can go back in and just add highlights to the petals and leave the darker areas. Might be a better way of approaching it. Getting some white with my ultramarine blue here, adding some highlights to the back ones, and then just kind of flicking it down so it sort of disappears down into the dark. Blending those two together. There we go. Just want it dark down as it goes down into my flower. I kind of didn't get these ones back here dark enough. If you don't have them dark enough, there's just no, there's no layering you know, I want to be able to show that each individual flower petal in front is layered over the top of the other. So I've got to make these a little bit darker back here. And just make sure that my paint is dry. If you try to do this while it's still wet, it'll just lift. So just make sure you kind of let it dry. I'm going to bring this one down a little bit, separate out those two a little bit, give it a little bit more depth right through there. And it looks like we're making our petals uglier, which we kind of are, but we need to do this step in order to give it depth. So we kind of have them mapped out now. We just need to darken up the centers. Put down a little color, wipe my brush out, and I'm just going to push my color around with a damp brush. Okay. All right. Getting some white here. I think I'm going to switch to a little bit smaller brush. I think I might use the angle brush. We'll see. Probably need to let that dry a little bit more, but I'm going to go ahead and put in some of the center of the flowers. So get a little bit of the Quinacridone Magenta and the burnt orange and mix those two together, and then grab some of that yellow and mix that in. So it's going to make a really bright reddish orange. And I'm going to wait. I'll do that later. But I will do a little bit more of the yellow right now. So now I've got these other petals in. I kind of know where this yellow needs to go. Bring it up just a little bit more. Again, we're making it worse before it will look better, so just kind of know that. It's okay. It's okay. Don't panic. Get some ultramarine blue and add some of that around my flowers here and my water.
Stay calm.
Yeah.
Paint on.
Exactly.
So that whole thing is kind of come and gone, huh?
What whole thing? Stay calm and
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, that was a big thing there for a while.
It was a trend.
Yeah.
They kind of come and go like that.
Mm.
Yeah. It was from the World War II, I think.
Right. Yeah, from England.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I need to bring it back.
Bring it back.
Yeah. Is it too soon? How long should I wait?
I think it's too soon.
Oh, okay. make it look like I'm just a little behind instead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Figures.
Yes. All right, you can get some phthalo blue or some phthalo turquoise and some Dioxazine Purple. You get a little bit of burnt umber. That'll just darken it all up to a black. I'm just going to make kind of a black. I can even add a little bit of Quinacridone Magenta if I want it even darker. And I'm just going to kind of pick some spots here where I want a really dark area of shadow on my water. I mean, just parading. Yes, please. Touching the water there in the picture, so I try to make it. I didn't have very many of these petals touching the water. I kind of didn't think that through when I was adding this big one down to the bottom here. I kind of like that part of the painting. Too late now. Touching. Add a little shadow there. Just kind of thinking about where the light's coming from, which is probably going to be, let me think, probably somewhere in this region here, so maybe heavier shadows on this side of things than on the top, if any. Makes sense. See, that's lifting them up out of the water now. There can be shadows up in here that we don't see off. Thank you. Okay. Thank you, honey. Marky brought me an ant trap. I've been having ants parading through my studio. Ooh, all that dried up. Okay, let's mix up some more of that turquoise. So it's amazing how it looks dark, but it, when it dries, it'll dry a lot lighter. So I'm gonna go back through here and add some little highlights, and I'm just gonna kind of tap along that edge where I want, and maybe like where that center of the lily pad is there. Maybe there's some water pooled up there or something. See, it's so, I want to blur that out a little bit. It's so obvious. So just to blur that out, I'm going to get some darker and go in the water with the watercolor and with the color of the lily pad there, and just kind of blur them both together, and that kind of blurs it out so it's not so in your face sharp. I'll make these ones down here a little sharper, but these ones up here I want a little bit softer. Just blurring out that edge. Nice. Okay. Let's go ahead and put some of this bright yellow right along that edge of that one. See how that lifted that up right up nicely. Put a little yellow right here. And I can put a little bit on there to lift it, but I don't have to have it like right up to the edge there on this one. Okay. I don't know if I love that shape. I kind of think I lost the shape of that one a little bit, but it's all right. They do weird things in nature. Sometimes they're not all the right shape. Let's add a little bit of lighter color there. Okay, let's add some ripples to the water too. A little bit of Ultramarine Blue. I'm just letting this dry really well, so it's almost ready to paint on top, but we'll finish the lily pads in the water here while we're waiting. Ultramarine Blue and a little bit of turquoise too, maybe like a little bit of a sky blue color, you know, some white. And I'm just gonna kind of go around in the water where I might see a little bit of a ripple in the water. So it kind of ripples around objects and bends the light. And of course up in here it's happening, but it's a little bit more blurry. So get that darker color and just blend around it. Blur it out. I don't know if I love any of this that's happening up here yet. Sometimes when you change things, you can just takes a while to get it right. I don't have a reference photo for this, so I'm just kind of trying to make it up, figure out what would be where. And sometimes it takes a minute to get it figured out. Okay, that's better. Gonna kind of blend out the edges of those reflections so they're not so harsh. Just using a little bit of that purple. Go back in with some of that more of the blue. The reflections on the water. Maybe a little bit of that flowers reflecting into the water there. Who knows? All right, and then I'm going to get some turquoise, and there's these little radiating lines out from the center of the lily pads. I'm going to just do it on this one since this is the main one. Just kind of maybe do it on this one too. Just going to go in a burst around from the center out. Yeah, it looks good. That's good. I think that's what was missing. Even though I don't know where the center is on this one, I'm just going to guess. Gonna pick a spot. And maybe that one's right here. Maybe we'll do the lines with this one in the lighter color instead of the darker. I like it. I kind of want to do a water droplet here too, so I'm going to get some white with my turquoise. Pick whatever color is underneath here and just add just a little bit of white to it. So something in here probably will work. Let's do one right here too. Maybe a small one on here. Okay. And I've kind of flattened it out on here, and then I'm going to get my darker color and come up underneath it. Wipe that out. Kind of push that darker color out around it, just making a shadow underneath where it's setting my lily pad. And a little bit into the bubble itself. And then on the top of the bubble. Slightly. And you can go all the way around with this if you want. I've done it that way before. There's lots of different ways of doing these. So you can kind of outline the whole thing if you want. That can help. I might go a little darker with this one underneath. Okay. And And then get some of my white, a little bit of glaze. You can use zinc white if you have it. I don't have mine out. I'm going to get a little bit of that turquoise color. That was kind of the base. Wipe most of it out and just have a little bit in my brush here. And I'm going to kind of just follow the lines of it a little bit just inside the edge. So just irregular shapes, so just kind of touching the tip here and just kind of catching the light a little bit, a couple places. And that's about all I have to do, but I might take it one step further and just do a little bit brighter highlight in, like, find a spot to do, you know, just like a little brighter highlight where I think the light might be catching it. If the light's coming from this way, maybe. I don't know, we'll see. I may mess with this some more, but this should,
Oh, I'm sure you will.
be enough.
I know you.
You know me. Okay. We'll let that set and see. We may want to mess with it some more. Not 100% happy. I don't have a really good photo that I'm going by, so I'm kind of trying to go by memory of doing it before.
So those are
It
some
was dangerous.
really nice looking radial notches you have there.
Radial notches? What are you talking about?
Well, that's what those little cut things are in the pads.
Radial notches? I did not know that.
Well, now you do.
Did you look it up?
Well, of course. I don't know stuff like that.
Okay, we'll see. And then, whoop. You can also have a highlight on the object itself from the light passing through it and putting a little highlight on the pad around it under your shadow, but that looked a little funky. I'm gonna I think I put too much highlight in it. You need a little bit darker inside. My dog's like, seriously? No. It's such a nice day. I don't know why we're sitting inside, but okay. It's nice outside. Just taking that whole one off there. I'm gonna start over on that one. It won't come off. I need to start a little bit darker, I think, in the center. I think I went a little too light. It needs to be close to the same color as the lily pad. A little bit too light with it. It's a dog life. I'm so bored. It's Pickle. No, I'm sleeping. I'm sleeping, Mom.
And then there's this.
Mm-hmm.
What is this?
That's Rowdy and Fitzpickle. I can tell they'd be best buds if they ever got to meet in person. Rowdy was the... Well, actually I had a tie, so I picked Rowdy because I had a better photo for him, so just thought he'd be easier to paint. So we had people...
Challenge images?
Yeah, we ended up doing 2 this month. We're not done with Rowdy yet. We've got a little bit left to do on him. But yeah, pretty fun. Pretty. All right, I'm going to stop fiddling with that because I'm just messing with it now. Let's go back to our flower. All right, let's get my 4 Filbert again. I'm going to use some fluid white. I think it'll just go on a little bit smoother for me. And I'm going to clean off my palette so I have some room to work. It's covered. Got no space to mix any new colors. Oops, I just scraped out off all that orange that we mixed before. Here we go. White here. And a little bit of the yellow. Spray my paints drying. All right, there we go. So we've got a nice little bit of bright yellow. And then get some green. Do a little bit of a lime green. More yellow than green there. Okay, we'll start there. Just put another layer onto that. Get a little bit of Ultramarine Blue and mixing that with this. Mix that dark green. Add some white. Use that in my shadowy ones as far back here. Just adding color to these, giving them another layer, and also kind of sharpening up my edges. So kind of lost some of my edges when I went back and finished my lily pads. So just going back in through here, cleaning up my edges, starting from the back here. There we go. So this is kind of that blue-green, ultramarine blue with a little bit of this yellow. What's that noise? Okay. Okay, getting some as I come down toward the middle, I'm going to get brighter and brighter with my highlights white, my brush. And then to blend that out, I'm just going to use a very, just dry brush and just kind of push back and forth. And I can get some of this color and push up with it so that I'm getting a nice bright tip on here. So it takes a little practice to get comfortable with doing this kind of blending, but kind of a light touch, get that white on the tip of my brush. If I get a clean brush, it kind of can help too. So wipe, take out most of the moisture out of it so it doesn't have a ton of paint. You can see there's not any paint globbed on here, globbed on to it. And I'm just going to kind of set it down on its edge right here. And kind of lift. Wipe my brush off and then just kind of pull it down. Like that. Do that for each petal. Now I just put the darker color on there, so that darker color is still a little bit wet, so it'll kind of help too. It'll kind of blend with it a little bit. But there we go. Just putting a little bit of bright tip on each of these. And if it doesn't blend, it may be that is starting to dry. I can get some of the darker color, put some fresh darker color on and push it up. That was starting to dry right there. Okay. Go ahead and do this one. A little bit of white on the tip. Take most of the moisture out. You wouldn't have to take so much moisture out if you're using the heavy body, but I'm using the fluid acrylic here, so it's get a little bit of the heavy body. Find it a little bit easier to do this technique with the thicker paint because it doesn't go as far. It sticks where you put it. It stops a little faster. It doesn't flow as much.
In which brush is that?
This is the number 4 Filbert.
Okay.
In the 6100 series. Okay. And let's go ahead and overlap right here this petal with this one so that it pushes this one back. Same with this. What were you going to ask me? Are you asking me something? Okay. I kind of think I got that one a little too big, but oh well. Too tall, I mean. The darker color kind of up against this one that's going to be in front, so I sort of want it to start right there. Okay, so let's next layer. This should be all we need to do on these petals, and they'll be done. Let me bring that up just a little bit more. Like that. Okay.
Should I try to get some mama bird?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Just through the window. She's on the nest.
Is she feeding her babies?
Not, I saw one of the babies.
Oh, were you just showing it? I didn't see it.
I'm going to.
Okay. We've got babies. We've been on a bird the nest watch for the last couple weeks. We have a house finch that's nested on our front door. She likes the wreath, so nested right up against the door, the wreath. There she is. She's sitting in her nest. And she was feeding her babies the other day. Oh, nope. Mark just scared her off. You can't tell. We've got privacy screen there. Oh, Mark's gonna show the babies. There they are. No. There were 5 of them. Don't touch it. Mark Anderson. He can't hear me. Okay, leave them alone. She can scare them away. Okay. They're actually pretty hard to scare, though. They're pretty comfortable around humans. You didn't touch it, did you?
Huh?
You're not supposed to touch it.
I did touch it.
Oh, okay. Looked like you were touching the nest.
No.
Okay. Couldn't tell. It's like, don't touch it. I was talking to you, but you aren't listening to me. No. Don't touch it. They don't like that.
Well, somebody asked if they needed liquid titanium white.
Only you don't know. You don't have to have it. It's just, I like to have it because if I'm doing line work, it's nicer just to have it already fluid than to mess with the heavy body acrylics and try to get them thinned out. It just takes a long time. So just mainly because I'm lazy. I don't like to have to, well, not lazy necessarily, but just I try to stay cognizant of the time when I'm doing these videos. So just saves me time when I'm doing my live streams. Okay, let me get some of these ones out here a little bit bigger. I'm kind of looking at the shape here. Go ahead and bring this one out just a little bit. And then this next one here. I'm going to do one in here. And again, it should go. These ones aren't as blue. They're more pink in here. I'm going to go ahead and get some magenta. Use that with this yellow. There we go. We'll use this as my color on the inside of these petals here on this side. So they're starting to get a golder color as they come out. Okay, and then these ones in here. smaller. And these are in our photo kind of harder to see. They're pretty similar to the color of just the way the light's hitting, kind of disappearing against each other. So I've added a little bit more contrast here so you can see them better as they come around here. Maybe use a little bit of yellow. Yellow will actually make your whites seem whiter. It'll make them look brighter in sometimes. So if I use a little bit of it kind of brings the white forward because it's a warmer color than the plain white, which kind of almost has a blue undertone, which it doesn't, but it just, kind of reads that way. In its coolest, in its purest form, it can be a little cool leaning. So if you add a little bit of this yellow to it, you can have two whites, one that's like pure titanium white, and then the other one that has a little bit of yellow that'll actually look a little brighter. I'm kind of messing up my shadow here. I don't want to do that. I need to leave these back petals alone after I kind of wanted to add some of that yellow to them, but I'm kind of making it worse. Making more work for myself. I don't want to have to repaint them. There we go. Okay. Cadmium yellow, a little bit of Quinacridone Magenta, and do this one. A little bit more yellow. Like that. I'm just working back to front, all my layers. So starting here, all the layers that are overlapping, it just makes it easier to do that. And then I'll start working these ones to the side and the front. And I'll probably need to do these ones first because these are behind underneath, and then do these ones very last right here that are closest to us. Okay, so let's get some white, a little bit of my magenta, and these ones down here, I'm gonna kind of tint them a little bit more of the pink colors. And they're pretty dark, so I'm not gonna brighten them up too much. I do want this one. I kind of forgot this one back here. It's getting some of the Ultramarine Blue. And I want it to come out right here and all the way up. And then there's going to be another petal that's right here, and another one right here. Let's go ahead and do this one. It's right here. Go down in there. right here. Like that. How you doing, hun? Is everybody doing good in chat today?
I believe so, yes.
Good.
Everybody's just visiting.
We had a really fun weekend last weekend. To go get some tulips. The tulip farm for Easter. Which, by the way, we forgot to say Happy Easter, so I hope you all had a Happy Easter. Totally forgot to say it as I was signing off. Get to go see my son. Spencer came with us. Maggie, Nathan's girlfriend, went to the tulip farm up there. Fitzpickle had a blast. There were other dogs that he was trying to meet, and they just didn't want to have anything to do with him. So it's a little bit disappointing on that scale. Poor Fitzy. He's such a spaz. He wants to be a friend so bad, he's just overwhelms the other dogs. Oh my God, it's a dog. It's another dog. Do you see that dog, Mom? Just, it's like that. It's like bark, 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 bark. Oh my God. Bark, bark, bark. Come on, let's go over there. Let's go over there. Let's go meet him. Let's meet him. Let's meet him. Come on, Mom. Come on. It's like, stop. It's like ripping our arm out, trying to get him to get us to go over, meet the other dogs. And the other owner's like shaking its head like, nope. Don't even. I was like, is your dog friendly? No, not when they're like that. Like, okay, I get it. He's a little much. I really don't know how. I think some dogs are just reactive like that, you know. There's really not a whole lot you can do. I'm not a dog whisperer, though. We're definitely not.
Yeah. Or we're just too lazy to really care.
Yeah. Well, he just hasn't been socialized. We got him during COVID, and he just didn't get to go out and do anything, so he just doesn't know how to behave. It's like an awkward child. Doesn't know. He is. Okay. I'm gonna, whoops. Oh, what did I just do there?
I don't know.
I was talking with my hand there. My brush was in it. I'm gonna get some lighter yellow, and I want to just tone down that part, the brightness of that a little bit with some yellow. There we go. It's pretty. We're getting there. I know it's taking a minute, but we'll get it. We'll get it there. It's just a matter of overlapping them in the right order. I don't love these. I'm gonna have to look up some water droplets for me, hun. Water lily water droplets. I just need I need a reference photo to look at and see where to put my shadows and stuff. It's obviously not there. I know I have pictures of them somewhere. I just didn't think of it until just now, and I'm like, I can do that, and then I'm like, no, I don't remember enough to make them look realistic, so just need a picture.
I'll let you scroll through and choose one you want to use.
Get a little bit of just kind of pushing that highlight around a little bit. There we go. So dark on the bottom, highlight on the top. Makes sense. Not sure why I didn't remember that. That'll work. Thank you, hon.
That'll do.
That'll do. Just blend out that bottom edge of it a little bit so it just blends down into the color. Yeah, that'll be good. And then get some of this pink. And I want to do another one. I'm going to do this one coming up here just so that you can see it. It's kind of right, it's tucked in front of this one, but I want to bring it up a little bit right there. Just and then there's another one here. Can't hardly see because it's the same color. So again, I can use a little bit of blue and maybe shadow the back side of it just a little bit so you can see it. It's like when you do white on white on white on white, there's no depth. Manufacturing some shadows here with a little bit of the blue and the pinks and things so that I have a little bit of depth for my petals that go on top to shine. Getting a little bit of ultramarine blue just as I go down in there. Okay, some highlights there. Kind of dry brushing these a little bit so that it just kind of, the color's breaking, just flicking in. As I'm lifting it, it's just breaking up and kind of creating a softer edge there where it goes down into the flower. Get a little bit more of the white. Okay, that looks good. I'm going to add some of this magenta and ultramarine blue here. Just going to add some streaks to this. So it's got some little bit of character. There we go. And then let's get a little bit of this color. I'm just gonna pull up on these petals. So there's gonna be one right here, one right here, one right here, one right here, and then in between there's gonna be some shorter ones. What was that? No, there's some outside that just made a noise.
I don't know. Oh, somebody just delivered something. Did you order anything?
What?
Did you order anything that could be delivered?
No.
Wait, let me rephrase
Not
this.
that I know of.
Is this the only delivery we should be expecting today?
What? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm going to go down a little bit lower with this one. Right here. Okay, I think that's probably going to do it for our petals. I think there's one more right here, actually. Okay. Did we get boxes?
I'm surprised that Fitzy didn't go nuts so.
Yeah, I didn't.
But he's out there right now smelling it to see if there's anything in there for him.
Oh. Okay, we're doing all right here. I kind of missed one right here, I think. One that kind of comes up in front right here and tucks in. There. Maybe not that far out. Right in here somewhere. Getting some white. And then this actually kind of have a little bit of a dark shadow, so I'm going to get a little bit of blue here. Add a little bit of that to these ones that are in front. Is it just Animal Central over there?
Mm-hmm.
All the animals have joined Dad. This is where the party's at. Just make sure you're not getting me in this side shot.
No. Extreme view. Right there. Over her shoulder.
Okay, getting some of this Quinacridone Magenta, Quinacridone Burnt Orange, and Yellow here from before. Gonna do my little center parts there. And there's some yellow petals that I missed. Just bright yellow. We add a little bit of white to help them be opaque. Those are going to be poking up right here. Okay, now it's just a matter of whether we like it or not. If we want to add anything, I'm going to add a little bit of Quinacridone Burnt Orange down here. I'm sorry, Quinacridone Magenta down there. Let me get my angle brush so I can get down in to these corners a little bit easier. Use that magenta, a little bit of ultramarine blue. Just get down in here. Between the colors. Mark's playing over there. It's a cat.
Getting some sweet purr audio.
I hear that. Pushing that magenta around a little bit. Just while it's still wet, you can kind of manipulate it. I kind of waited too long. Kind of dried a little bit on me, but still pushing it around a little bit. The paint colors are not dry yet, so I'm kind of having to fiddle with other things while I'm waiting for this to dry, but petal here, petal here. Yeah, they're just thick with paint right now. I'm not going to take any new paint until that dries. So I can go back to this one though. You can see how you can see that that I added paint over that and didn't cover the dark underneath. So I'm just going to get some white and make sure that that's opaque right there and that there's no weird see-through part on there. Any other spots that I see like that on these petals that are dry, we can mess with them. Getting my white and kind of going up over. There we go. I'm just trying to separate out these petals, making sure I know what's what, you know. So now that we've got all these colors down, I can start to go back here and highlight certain parts of these petals to bring them forward. Yeah, I'm not loving the colors that much, but not a whole lot I can do at this point.
You can do a lot.
Well, I mean, not unless I want to redo the whole thing, which I don't want to do, so. I wish I'd use more pinks, I think, than blues.
Do you want to switch places and
No,
see if I can do it?
Nah, we're good. Good.
No hesitation there. I think this needs to come out more. Maybe I need another petal over here. Right. I'm gonna get some glaze and some of my turquoise, maybe a little bit of the cadmium or the green, make a light glaze. I don't tend to do glazes with lighter colors, but I kind of want a little bit of a sunshine glow on some of these areas here, so this can, that glaze can help go down kind of thin. The lighter glazes tend to show brush strokes though, so you can see that it's not blending in very nicely. I'm gonna get some turquoise and add that too. Again, just add a darker color to blend it out. And I could use my finger to help blend it out too. It's another way of doing it. Yeah, that looks good. I'm gonna get a little bit of the light color here. Just try to go quickly and use a little bit of paint, not too much. Maybe follow those lines from before. Those. Okay.
Thank you.
Get Kiss sneezes on you.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Do you have any color mixed in your glazing liquid? Or is it just straight?
No, it's just straight glaze. And this is the glazing medium I'm using here, or the glaze that I'm using right now is got it's got turquoise and green in it, and the cadmium green, or the phthalo green, I mean. All right, I think, boy, that flower is just glowing. I just want kind of some glow in other places here. I don't want it all there, so I'm just adding a little bit of highlights here and there to some of these other places that I can kind of bring out some other values, lighter values, so that all the light values not just boom right there. There's some in my water droplets too. I'm going to get a smaller round here, and my turquoise, a little bit of purple. I'm just going to really, really carefully do a very small little outline around my water droplet to separate them out. And then I'm going to add, see down in here, I need a little shadow down in there on my lily pad. So I'm going to get my darker turquoise and just go back in here and add a shadow. And I can even make it a drop shadow and have it come away from it and mimic the shape of the petal. I want to get real fancy.
Mm-hmm.
Like that. Maybe do it there.
Fancy.
Yeah. Being kind of sloppy here, sorry.
What?
I'm being sloppy. Getting it on my... That's already... There you go. A little bit of the dark inside there. That definitely helped. And if you went over your petals, just touch them up. Excuse me. Wow, that came out of nowhere.
I don't know what that's like.
I know Mark spit his coffee all over himself earlier before the show. Thankfully, not all over me. He turned right at the right moment. It was just like spit it so hard it got all over his glasses on the inside of his
It went back
glasses.
into the cup and then came right out of
Came
my
right
face.
splashed up into his face. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. Pretty funny.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'm almost done here. That was 2 hours. I thought it was going to be a short one today. I was like, this one's not gonna take too long. Famous last words. I always underestimate how long things are gonna take. I never can tell. But I always take an extra time with this one to get it just so.
Well, that's good.
Yeah. Add a little bit of pink to my petal here. It comes up. Magenta. Just so you can see it. I just feel like it needs some color. Then I can go back in. It's just a matter of going back and forth. Back and forth. And I just don't want to lose my dark areas in the middle, center, down in here. So as I'm doing this, I'm just making sure that I'm not going over all of those areas. All right, I'm gonna, I think, maybe stop there. I don't know. We'll see. I'll sign it. And if I see anything else, I'll paint it before we go.
Let's see what do I need to do here. I need to get the bell.
I hope people can follow along with what I did there. That was kind of,
I think so.
I was trying to figure it out as I was doing it. So
Good.
sometimes that's harder to follow.
I need a new cowbell. Is this one cowbell?
Get your calypso that somebody sent us that one. Tell me it's a prettier. Of course, it wouldn't be the moo.
Which one?
The little doom doom doom. The little.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
I don't know what they're called. Calypso. Calypso.
Yeah, but I like how you did that. That was nice.
Any excuse to make fun of me. So.
You
Okay.
ready for some super tets?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Hold on to your seats. The first
A
one.
little bit of white here. Yes.
The first one's from Cindy. It says,
Okay.
"Thank you for all you do. Love these tutorials."
Oh, thank you, Cindy.
Thank you very much.
Very sweet.
Appreciate that. And then this one's from one of our longtime fans, Michael. Said,
Nice. Hi, Michael.
So here's where I typed the message. Took 2 years to learn.
Thank you, Michael. That's awesome.
That was great. Thank you for all your support through
You guys
Super
are
Chat.
awesome. Yes.
And while Angela is finished with her painting, so we can go ahead and we can talk about your Patreon.com
Okay.
real quick. We showed the challenge images earlier
Yes.
that she's doing this month, but when you sign up at that level, you don't get just this month's challenge image. You get all the previous months back to February 2017. So
And they
bunches.
are challenging, so they're not beginner level tutorials. I've had some beginners, join in. Like,
Right.
wait, these are all really hard. And that's the whole point. They're the ones that I don't do on YouTube because they're much more difficult. They take a lot longer. They're more in depth. So those are the ones that I do for the challenge and the
bonus.
bonus videos. Yeah.
So,
The bonus videos are $5 level.
Right.
The challenge images are $10 level.
Mm-hmm.
The bonus videos are once a month. The challenge videos are once a week.
each Thursday right now.
Right. Yeah.
And of course, each level you go up, you get all the previous levels. So I should have started at the $2 level, which is traceables. You can get all 500 some on traceables. And
From
then
all the videos that we've done since 2017, we have traceables for.
that are the free ones on YouTube. You don't
Yes.
get the traceables for the bonus and challenge
No.
image with that.
No.
So then at the $5 level, you get all the traceables plus that stuff, and then so on and so forth. So, and thank you to
It's
the
traceables, $2 levels, $5 levels get traceables, and the bonus video, and the challenge. The $10 level gets the challenge, weekly challenge video tutorial on Thursdays, and a Facebook group membership, plus all of the other stuff, and plus all the previous videos that we've done for them. So we've done some really, really fun projects with those for patrons.
So to
All
be
right.
on the safe side, make sure you get everything that you want. Just go ahead and sign up for the $1 million level. You know. And
Mark's just trying to get retire sooner.
And you get one free
listen to
lawn
him.
mowing by me. And if you live in a climate that is like snowy, then you can get one driveway shoveling.
Instead of this.
Right.
of the
So either or,
mowing.
but not both.
Right. Check.
You need to sweeten the pot there a little bit. So there you go.
All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed it. This was fun. It was a little more challenging than I expected it to be. But anytime you're overlapping petals, it can be a little tricky. So when I was getting a little fussy with mine, I should have probably just picked a color and stuck with it with all of them. But hindsight, it's no matter how many times I paint, I've been doing this for over 30 years now. It's always just kind of an adventure. You never know what you're going to get. You kind of have an idea when you start out, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it takes a while to figure it all out. That's kind of what happened today, but I like the results. So I hope you guys did too, and we'll see you guys on Tuesday. We'll be back with another free tutorials for you. What are we painting?
Well,
Beach scene. It's going to be palette knife. Really, really fun. Easy. So this is one, if you like, I can't paint. This is one that you could do probably with your kids. I think it's going to be really fun. So I'm going to really, really make it simple. And we're going to do some ocean waves from like overhead, like a drone shot overhead the beach. With some waves with a palette knife. So the palette knife makes it really easy and it's a lot of fun. So I hope you guys join us for that. All right. We'll see you guys next time. Have a great rest of your weekend. Thanks for watching. Bye.